Alright, what's up guys? Let's get straight into it. I can see you can all hear me fine. Alright, let's get into it. Start with commodities. No longer interested in this. Looking at gold at the moment. I'm now more interested in this range. So we will see what happens there. We'll add our alerts. On the hourly, are we still bullish? Broken to bearish, broken to bullish. And we have now broken back to bearish, so we are bearish on the hourly. Which I'm not the biggest fan of because we are semi-accumulating at the moment. Or we're about to form some form of accumulation here, so we'll see what happens there. Boom, we broke structure to bearish here. Never broke it back to bullish, so. Forex remains bullish, everything else remains bullish. Yeah, it's just right here that we're wanting to be a little bit cautious of. Yeah, that's it for gold. Really, not much more to do. The daily is still bearish, I believe. Rightly so, yes. Yeah, this is all that I will be looking at. Gold silver remains. Sorry, the one thing I just want to quickly do is journal a trade I took yesterday and we got stopped out of, which I'll actually skip to. Oh no, we'll get there pretty shortly. Yeah. But yeah, so far plan remains the same for silver for me. Still looking for this extreme liquidity to get taken out. We're still bearish on the hourly, still bearish on the 4 hourly. Not much has changed here. Yeah, honestly, not a whole lot has changed. It will be interesting to see if we have some local model form here. So I will monitor this as well. As we might get some form of local TCT within a TCT. So yeah, same thing. Alerts have been set. We can either expect something like this, sweep this, break structure, and then we can enter there. Or if that doesn't happen, we can still look at a local model coming back in, ranging for a bit, grabbing extremes, and then moving up. So yeah, these are the scenarios that we're looking at. But for the moment, alerts have been set. We can just be patient. Looking at oil, we have this potential accumulation model, which is in line with our bias on the short term. We're bullish on the 1 to 4 hour. Yeah, we remain bullish. I believe we are still bullish on the daily as well. Yes. Yes, we are, because this is our daily market structure low. So this accumulation is definitely in favor. And the one thing I am going to do is just monitor extremes and see where my extreme liquidity is. This here is technically extreme liquidity for me, just already off the bat. Yeah, this is very, very clean. Very clean in terms of an extreme liquidity POI. I'm trying to see just what else might be in here in terms of demand, or something similar. This could be extreme demand if it hasn't been mitigated ever so slightly. This is very valid. Very valid extreme demand here, which is a fantastic POI for us to use. Really, really nice. So yeah, I would definitely be using these POIs for oil. We are within a supply POI as well. Could be worth seeing if we do distribute locally up here. Thing is, you can use this, but it's just way too... I'd much rather focus on this low time frame model, as much as it is a lot lower time frame than using this as your starting point. But this is just too much market structure like price action, even this in itself. So that's why I kind of do want us to come back in here and then range a little bit more before eventually potentially distributing here. So Asia lows are untapped, which is what we want, and Asia highs have obviously been taken. So I do like this little micro range here, which we can obviously then short into our accumulation here. So yeah, this is the plan at the moment for oil. We will see what happens. But yeah, regarding price action, I don't mind this. Yes, there is supply up here, but this favors our context so much. So like when you're bullish across the board, then you can expect like semi-decent looking accumulations to play out. Alright, next. EURNZD, and I believe this is what the trade I took yesterday it was, yes. Beautiful. So yeah, I took this live on yesterday, during yesterday's market check. You can see where the break structure was. And then you'll also see as to why I took it and what the pros of this setup was, as well as what the cons of this setup was. Pros was actually that it was very pro context. At the time, the context was highly bearish in the low time frame. And then the cons were pretty, I mean, you can kind of see it. There's no return to zone. Asia lows had been taken, Asia highs had been taken. There was just no real liquidity for the market to hunt. So when there's no liquidity for the market to hunt, you can kind of expect the unexpected. And that is exactly what happened. And yeah, price did break structure, moved towards our technical target for a little bit, and then it just reversed stops us out. There was another break of structure here which I didn't take, and then same thing, it moved again to our what would have been the technical target, but it eventually just continued going back up. So yeah, this was the setup. And then I pretty much explained the same thing in the live trading environment right before taking it. I said the exact same thing. This is what's good about the setup. This is what's bad about the setup. I'm still going to take it. And yeah, we can see here that we have been stopped out. So I am going to copy this image. So, and that's also what I journaled. No return to zone or recent session sweeps made. However, context is highly pro. So as much as it was a pro context, there was a few key confluences which did not get ticked. One being return to zone, and then one being our sessions. And duration-wise, from break of structure, I was in this trade for about 3 hours 30. So not the best first trade of the new month, but it is what it is. But yeah, I can now remove this. Context, I just want to say that context is still bearish. We're still within quite hefty supply. Therefore, we can still monitor other distributions, but there's just nothing really that I'm liking here. If I look on the hourly, we're actually, we're bullish now. And I'm pretty sure we were actually bullish before I entered the trade, because if you look at market structure, it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna re-watch back my entry, because we're now all of a sudden bullish. Yeah, we're bullish. So I'm very curious as to where I thought, or why did I think this 1 hourly was bearish, because it is bullish. 4 hourly is bearish, and then so is the daily, and so is the weekly, so that's fine. But yeah, the hourly was bullish, however, at the time. So it was interesting to see the thought process there. We probably do have session lows below, Asia lows really cleanly here. Yeah, maybe a little scalpuccino in here. Definitely not be advising it, but I'm just going to monitor the market structure. Yeah, we're going for 2 hours. So we will see what happens here. The one thing I do like about this is that Asia lows are really nicely there, sitting below us. Is there demand below? Probably. There is, but yeah, with Asia lows, liquidity is always a little bit different. So it will be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, as of now, we've just got some rangy price movements after an expansion. So we will see what happens. GBP AUD. All right, GBP AUD. We've obviously got this high time frame accumulation range. Yeah, so we've got this high time frame accumulation range here, which is still playing out quite nicely, and then we have this little local range over here. My apologies, guys and girls. We have this local range here. We're kind of drifting away, I'm going to say, from the expected duration, 2 days, 17 hours. Oh, we are long gone here. This is long gone. So we're no longer interested in this or whatsoever. We do have demand below. Just an FYI, but I would like at least a nicer mitigation here before that break of structure. So I'm still being patient to see what price does in regards to this range. Yeah. Maybe we range like that. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, that's my alerts done. I will continue to move on here. Not much more to say. We are still bullish on the hourly, that's fine, and we are still bearish on the 4-hour CHF JPY. Now we have moved quite deeply into extreme demand here. However, we have also left some liquidity above. We might potentially move higher in the short term. I don't know. We're definitely now bearish on the hourly though. Probably maybe even on the 4-hourly. Market structure lows there. No, it's not, sorry. That's our 4-hour market structure low, so. And then the 1-hour is bearish. And yeah, if we are to draw our structure, we are now officially bullish after breaking structure there. Still bullish. Still bullish. Bearish. Bullish, structure's broken there. And we are now, yeah, bearish back on the hourly, so that remains, and yeah, we're going to see what happens. I don't think this is necessarily going to be a... it could be. It honestly could be. I'm going to need us to quickly come back up in here. If it is going to be a accumulation, I'm going to need us to quickly come back up in here, grab some sort of liquidity, and then expand aggressively. But yeah, that's it for now. Let's see what EURNZD was doing. And yeah, it is in the process of making that very local first deviation of our range. So we will see what happens in here. Did I have another EURNZD? CHFJPY. I had an alert go off here. It must have just been this. Who knows? Also, to note, we have created supply here, so I don't know if we're going to come back up as aggressively as I would like, given we've also deviated quite a lot here. It's already not really looking like a range. Like, this is a heavy wick. Yeah, we will see what happens. Yeah, it looks terrible, doesn't it? It just looks terrible. It's valid though, because it hasn't closed, but it's just not nice. Anyway, we'll see what price does. We're not going to dwell on it too much. GBP/NZD running through supply. We got supply above. This is very similar to the EURNZD setup we had, but this just never gave us an entry. And yeah, we never entered on anything, and as you can see, price kept going higher. Let me quickly double check what gold is doing. Okay, it's also creating its first deviation here, so give this a bit more time. Yeah, that's kind of it for now. GBP/NZD, definitely bullish on the hourly, or is it? Okay, it's actually, no, it is bullish. That's how market structure high we've broken it. Yeah. Okay, bullish on the hourly. Still bearish on the 4-hour, and probably, yeah, it would be bearish on the rest, so the hourly can now change to bullish. And at the moment, not a whole lot I'm interested in here. Not really. We are in somewhat of a confirmed high time frame distribution model. With, yeah, you've got your model 1 going into an extended model 2. So yeah, overall it is still it's still a pro distribution environment just because of how we've distributed here, and then also just using basic market structure rules. You still can look for distributions. Yes, the 1 hourly is bullish, but look on the big picture. Yeah, essentially ideally I would like to see some sort of local distribution up here, but it looks like we have expanded, leaving behind some form of demand, which is right there. But yeah, we will see what happens. Not much for me to do. Maybe here if anything, but yeah, I'm gonna have to monitor this for a little bit longer. USD CAD. We might be distributing here. Let's have a look what's happening here. Bit of everything's happening here, eh? Okay, so we've definitely got this shaping up on the higher time frame. Um, 1 hourly and 2 hourly, I'm gonna say it's probably bullish now, is it? That is a new low, so yeah, this is now officially bullish. We went back to bearish and we are now back to bullish. So we're bullish on the hourly, probably bullish on the 2 hourly. No, we're actually bearish on the 2 hour. Yeah, we are bearish on the 2 hour here. However, yeah, we are bullish on the hourly, so we might get some local deviation, and hopefully we come back up and create that distribution. We'll see what happens. And yeah, following our basic market structure rules. I've clicked the wrong thing twice now, eh? Following basic market structure rules, we were now bearish. Hold on a minute. Yes, we were now bearish because this is an inside bar candle. Sorry, I remember mentioning this yesterday. So this does remain bearish, except for the 1 hour essentially. And yeah, no 6 candle rule here, which is valid. So yeah, this is definitely favoring a distribution. We'll see what happens there. Alerts have been set, not much more to do. All right, USD JPY. I'm going to say the 4 hour is still definitely bullish, and it most certainly is. Hourly might be bearish now. Yes, it is. Can evidently see the market structure here. Bearish, and we have also left behind supply, which is something to be aware of. Daily is also bearish, I believe. yeah, you've got some ever so slightly created supply here, and then there I'm confident to say there will be some more refined supply if we look at this a little closer. And yeah, you can quite evidently see more refined supply here. Yeah, valid supply. We'll monitor price to see what it does when it approaches this PLI, but not a lot for me to do at the moment, to be completely honest. Euro GBP. Yeah, using this is definitely fine, but I just want a local model forming in here. I'm not a fan of entering on just random break of structures based on high time frame models, and I do enter on models formed within lower time frame models formed within higher time frame models. That's my only criteria of entering positions like this. I'm not going to scale in. I'm not going to, do anything like that. I'm just going to wait for a clean confirmation. Because yeah, this is kind of like last resort for an extended tap. Is there more refined supply above? You know what? There probably is. I do remember looking at this actually. Because yeah, this has been mitigated. Then you have this, which isn't the cleanest, but it is structure supply. As I said, it's just not the cleanest. So yeah, we will see what happens. Euro GBP. One hour is very much still bearish. 4 hour would still be bearish here. Everything else looks still bearish across the board here. We're slowly moving towards this, you know, range low. From a local standpoint, not a whole lot happening locally. Can definitely use this as a range, but it's pretty counter context. And you're going to need some clean return to zone coming back into it. This is probably some form of demand. Okay, it's valid, which is always a good thing. Yeah, not a whole lot to do at the moment. Just be patient. EURNZD. Well, I'm seeing a model here, but how good is the context? There is liquidity here, which could be nice. Yeah, we're obviously still bearish on the hourly. On the 4 hourly, we're still technically bullish because we've just SFP'd this like crazy, and now we've SFP'd this again. So crazy SFP here on the 4 hour. So yeah, this candle closure will be very interesting. We have left some evidence supply above, which I'm not necessarily too fond of. However, it has been mitigated on the lower time frame, but we do have overlapping supply, which I don't think has been mitigated. There you go. So yeah, powerful supply here. On the 4 hour, are we still bullish? Yeah, sorry. That's what we just spoke about. And then daily. Daily remains bearish. So like the only thing that makes this look good is on the 4 hour, that we've kind of continued to SFP this. So if we can really come in and really grab at least this overlapping supply, and then slowly come back down, creating that return to zone, and then break structure again, then I will be happy to take this. But yeah, we just got to be patient, and I want this to be mitigated first. At least some of the supply. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. I've got my alert set, so that's all good. There's no real key demand in here either. You can kind of see that. So yeah, this is just something that we're going to continue to monitor. We'll see what happens. GBP, JPY. I'm seeing a good reaction here from supply. Okay, so yeah, this is that high time frame range that we've been monitoring for a while now. However, whatever market structure like this was, it may have been SFP'd, maybe on the hourly. Okay, no, so hourly structure has actually been broken here. I am honestly happy to enter this on an hourly break, to be completely honest. However, given we've missed this, like, yeah, even so, if I just should be entering a lot better than this. Like if I enter there, it's going to give me a 6.25. If I'm a bit careful with where I enter, like I can easily take this into a 10 risk to reward. So I'm happy with how we have broken structure. This 3 hours market structure low is going to be very, very important to monitor. Alerts are already set there. The only thing I'm going to chase right now, well, not chase, but look for a pullback. So that's our break of structure on the 1 hour. I'm sure there's a more refined break if I look closely, but I'm interested on the 1 hour at the moment. And now I am looking for a pullback opportunity. There is a decent return to zone above, which is just something that you should be paying attention to. I think there is still reason for price to come up. Pretty sure we do have some even more refined supply above here. So let's examine this. That's all been mitigated. You can't just have this, and this is valid refined supply. So this is kind of our last, everything else in here has been mitigated. That's all kind of been mitigated. So yeah, this is pretty much my last refined supply. Which has not yet been mitigated. We have broken structure on the hourly, so don't forget that structure has been broken on the hourly. Yes, there is a return to zone above. We got this buy side liquidity curve curving, but yeah, like if you look at this, we have broken structure quite aggressively. Obviously we SFP'd it first, but there has been nice follow through. So in terms of a pullback opportunity, I'm going to monitor this. I will be monitoring this supply right here. And if we look at it on the hourly, price is allowed to come back in here because the market structure, the next market structure on the hourly is all the way up here. So price is actually allowed to kind of not rip through supply, but you know, yeah, like sort of rip through supply, make a let me draw this better. So high, 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 low, high, 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 low, high, high. Boom, structure's been broken. We've broken 2 bearish. Price is allowed to come back up all the way into here to create that lower high for a lower low and continue. So yeah, I can expect a pullback. I will expect a pullback. I'm going to set an alert here for a potential entry. My stops will be here. I have no reason to put my stops above this, right above this supply, because price can go higher. As I said, it can make that lower high. And then should my entry be here, that will still allow me a fairly decent, I believe, yeah, 14 risk to reward entry. So we will see what happens. But yeah, my alerts have been set. You know what we should do is grab our little so looking at this on the daily, we can see quite an evident break of structure here. So on the daily, we are bearish on the daily, and then on the weekly might be bullish, I have a feeling. Yeah, very much so bullish on the weekly. Our weekly low is here, our market structure low on the weekly, so it's got a long way to go, but on the daily we are bearish, which is what we want. On the 4 hour, we are very much so bullish. My apologies, I think we are bearish on the 4 hour, so this is actually quite in favor of our context. And then we're probably going to be bearish on the hourly if there's no market structure here. Yeah, would you look at that? So we're bearish on the hourly. So this is actually quite a high probability trade, if you'd ask me. Essentially, as soon as we start hitting this supply, I'm kind of going to start sizing in. And yeah, this would obviously start with a 14 risk to reward. And from a very local standpoint, bear with me while I just get my position size calculator. All right. I'm going to obviously size in very small here, so probably start with like 0.25%. So a 0.5%, Have I put this in correctly? 214.90. Yeah, so it'll be a very small lot size to start off with. So I will monitor this. If I can essentially go even higher into here and just maximize the risk reward, that would be ideal, but we will see what happens. Like even like that's a 17.52, which I'll happily take. So we will see what happens. Yeah, I'm just gonna pay close attention here and see how price moves in, and then yeah, like you can already see here, the return to zone is really beautiful. So yeah, alerts have been set for GBP JPY here. We kind of did have this local model up top, which wasn't the cleanest, but definitely not clean at all. And it even SFP'd its market structure here on the 10-minute. Yeah, we'll see how we move into this supply POI. GBP USD. This range is still at play here. Hourly still bullish. There's our hourly low on the 4-hour. Yeah, 4-hour is still bearish. There's our 4-hour high. Daily is obviously going to be still bearish, and weekly is going to be still bearish. So overall here, we're actually moving quite nicely towards this first deviation. Alerts are still set. Yeah, honestly, I'm liking how this range is playing out. Just going to have to give it heaps more time. We are on the 45-minute at the moment. So, and we've also created a nice buy-side liquidity curve. So yeah, just be patient here. Expect us to go higher in the short term. NZD CAD, I'm seeing some bearish price action at the moment. Well, we're still bullish on the hourly. We're still pretty much bullish across the board here. Daily might be bearish. Looking at our daily structure, bearish. I feel like I've already looked at this so many times. We're trending down. We're now all of a sudden bullish. Yeah, like we're bullish on the daily. I'm just trying to think what might. That makes so much sense. Or not? Yeah. We were trending down, we broke to bullish, broke to bearish. I feel like I should have marked this, and I don't know why I didn't, but this is our daily high. So that does make so much sense for me. Because yeah, we broke to bearish here. This is our market structure. And then this is just internal structure between our swing high on the daily and then our swing low on the daily. So that makes a lot of sense. That's why we are so bearish. Three. Sorry about that, guys. Bear with me. Give me a second, guys. I just have to. These are the. 'Alright, I'm just looking to see if there's overlapping supply here, but it kind of is, to an extent. Yeah, it's all kind of been mitigated, to be honest, so I'm not going to put too much emphasis on this supply, realistically. This has moved way too low for it to be a accumulation, and there's also no real POIs in here. Yeah, in terms of NZD CAD, like, there's just not a whole lot happening. I'm just going to give this price action some more time. USD CHF, not really interested in this anymore. Weekly is obviously still bearish. Daily is still bearish, slowly getting to this daily high, which we might become bullish soon. Four hourly is now bullish with that structure right there being broken, and that remains bullish, and then yeah. This remains bullish as well, so it's kind of like a mixed, a neutral sort of context, if you want to call it that. But once again, there's never really for me to draw a range from. Not a whole lot going on. Like, I'm not going to draw from here. That's way too extended. That's kind of it. Just be patient. Honestly, just be patient. Wait for a setup to present itself. AUD CAD. we have moved back into this demand, so this is no longer of interest to me. And then in terms of our context, we will have a look. Weekly is still bullish, daily is still bullish, 4 hour is still bullish. Hourly, maybe we've switched to bearish here. Have we? No. Bullish across the whole board here. We are close to a range, to the premium section of the range, so maybe something in here might be worth monitoring. USD JPY has hit our rectangle, which is just what we wanted. We have key 1 hour supply above. I do feel like we'll see how we come into this price action. $12 not necessarily valid, and there's probably some extreme liquidity here, which maybe just has not been taken yet. Yeah, definitely extreme liquidity there. Right here, very valid extreme liquidity. So this is kind of a model which is valid. I don't mind this. It's not the worst, not the best. Asia high yet to be taken. Asia low has been taken, which I don't like. And I'm just going to have a look to see if there is any sort of demand below. Doesn't look like it at the moment. So we will see how we move into this third tap POI. And we can move this up. And GBP JPY can also go up. USD CHF, have we looked at this? We did. Yes, we did. AUD USD ran through demand. And then we're also in this range as well. Definitely still bearish on the hourly. You can see this pretty evidently. Bang, structure been broken. Still bullish on the 4 hour due to this being a 4 hour SFP right there. Then daily is probably going to still be bullish. Yeah, daily still bullish with the daily SFP here as well. Perfect. So yeah, overall, like, expect us to continue going higher for now. Maybe the way this is moving, I'm leaning towards using this as a potential accumulation, which could actually be in favor, fairly in favor with our context. So just pay attention to this. I have a feeling demand here would have been mitigated. Well, actually, yeah, so this has, but then I think we have something here. It is a little bit just too far outside of our range for my liking, but you never know how we can wick in. Yeah, it's valid demand, and then this demand has been mitigated. Oh, maybe there's like a little water block in here. Yes, we do still have some refined demand in here. So overall, I don't mind how this is looking. but it's going to take quite a bit of time for us to get a confirmation on this. Definitely towards the end, maybe Friday, if anything. All right, we'll see what happens here. And then AUD, CHF. I feel like I've looked at this. No, I haven't, because I would have removed this. Still just overall bullish from what I'm seeing upon first glance here. Yeah, bullish on the hourly with SF. Not even, we've kind of front ran that hourly low. And then yeah, we're just continuing to go higher, so expect us to go higher, that's all I can say for the time being. Let's see what happens here. Not the cleanest supply, but it is there. And we have mitigated this, so yeah, we'll see what happens. Not expecting a lot with this range. I just think we're going to continue to go higher, but there is a nice return to zone for now below us. Yeah, that's kind of it at the moment, guys. I'm going to do a crypto video shortly. And yeah, kind of my main watch is, we'll see what AUD CAD does. GBP JPY, I'm going to wait for a nice mitigation into this supply. If that comes, I do want to get a better ROI here on such a high time frame move. And then yeah, other than that, what do we have? EURNZD has formed some form of range. Very, very local. I think we had Asia low below. Technically, we have grabbed extreme liquidity. And we have, technically speaking, broken structure here. So this could be like a very, very low time frame scalp here. We have even left supply. And we're in supply. We're just bullish on the very low on the low time frames. There hasn't really been a key market structure break here. We've SFP'd the 5 minute. It's not actually valid from the 5. There's nothing valid on that. I think it's just that 1 minute break. Yeah, it's just a 1 minute break. Which we could look at we can look at a scalp here, 1.96. Four lots here. So I have entered at 1.968882. Alright, I've entered this live. very low time frame model. I've entered with 0.5% risk for obvious reasons. Return to zone is clean and goes into that break of structure, which is what we've talked about before. It's always very good, very high probability when the return to zone finishes right where the break of structure occurs. There is our break of structure. I think I could have entered with more size. Yeah. I put my stop loss as 1.96971. Yeah, put it like all the way here. But yeah, this is a 3.77 risk to reward short here. Well, there you go. That's two back-to-back market checks where I have entered live. And the same pair as well. Almost same time as well. 0, 2, 0. And then this was entered at 7:39. During the London session. That is a Model 2. Beautiful return to zone is my... I'm going to put in the context as neutral here just because we are bullish on the short term. However, bearish on the 4-hourly and daily. The only thing I don't like about it is that it is very, very short time frame. 2 hours, 55 minutes. I will use this as supply. And then yeah, the one thing that I do like is that we have Asia lows right there and then demand. So I will, plan is, if we don't get stopped out now, is that I will de-risk here and then kind of just let this run for a decent, at least of a 9.89, and then take partials here and then let the rest run to Asia low for a 15.61. Obviously that would average out to like maybe like a 12 or thereabouts, but that's if it happens, as we have just hit our supply, so we will see how we react from it. And then it is to know that we have actually broken to bullish, sorry. So following market structure, we're bullish, we're bearish, we're now bullish. So we're kind of going to need to come all the way back here to break back to bearish. So we will see what happens. That is my stop loss being hit right there if it does. GBP, JPY was the other one. Yeah, so we just want a better mitigation there. like there is still liquidity being formed, just an FYI. Even if we do go up and take my take profit, then also what is also to know is that there is supply above right here. I'm honestly just keeping this recording on just so you guys can watch this live entry with me. But as of now, I'm just journaling my entry and my thoughts. Yeah, so my thoughts are, it looks like we are about to get stopped out. So essentially all I have journaled is, all right, we have been stopped out there. Essentially all I've journaled is that beautiful return to zone going into the break of structure, which is right there. And then the confluence is going against is a very, very low time frame range, which we have seen. Range is extremely low time frame. And it's also only swept extreme liquidity, which is here, and has not, well, at the time that we entered, it did not mitigate extreme supply, which is up here. So there is still reason to come up higher. So it's not, it's not a A++ setup to be completely honest. But I really just like this return to zone going into the break of structure. There's probably also some volume inefficiencies going into the break of structure as well. Yeah, volume's nice. But yeah, overall it was just a very low time frame range. $3.77. Well, first two trades of the month are both EURNZD shorts, and they're both, and we have been stopped out on both. So there you go. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, guys and girls. So I've essentially been in this for like 15 minutes, not even. I was in this for 7 minutes, perfect. 7 minutes. All right, dinner is ready, so I'm just gonna have to duck off now. But yeah, that was EURNZD. I will continue monitoring GBP JPY, and I suggest you guys do the same. Look for a deeper mitigation of this supply, and then I will we'll monitor this later. So thank you all for viewing, for making it this far into the video, and then I will catch you all soon with a crypto update. All right, peace.